Teen remanded for fatal accident. Cops investigate stolen fielder wagons. GCOM waives vaccine requirement for teenagers. And why a police-private security alliance is a terrible idea. I'm Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. 19-year-old Matthew David Aaron Ambedkar, the driver blamed for the fatal accident on Monday, has been charged with 3 counts of causing death by dangerous driving. He was not required to plead to the charges, which allege that while he was racing another vehicle, he lost control of his vehicle and slammed into the Sharmila Harikissoon sports bar, killing 3 patrons. He was remanded to prison until March 24. This morning, 2 men robbed the Cheshire repair shop in Georgetown. According to reports, one of the men emerged from a silver fielder wagon asking for directions. While he did that, another man emerged from nearby and then rushed the establishment with a gun in hand. He then held up several employees before fleeing the scene. Even though iNews Guyana was the one to report on this robbery, they couldn't verify if anything was actually taken. The police are investigating a number of reports of stolen Toyota fielder wagons, which are suspected to be used during various crimes. Based on reports from the police, taxi drivers are mostly targeted. In other instances, the vehicle is used as a getaway car. Over the past year, there have been at least 6 reports of taxi drivers having their wagons jacked, only for the police to locate it in a stranger's possession or abandoned in a field somewhere. The police are currently trying to investigate any connections between the crimes. Over in Wismar-Linden, 26-year-old security guard David Swan is now hospitalized with severe chop wounds after 2 males attacked him with a cutlass around 4 this morning. According to the police, Swan says he was sleeping in the guard hut at St. Aidan's Primary School when he woke up to a chop in the back of the head. The man chopped him once more before Swan could escape the hut. He was then chopped in the hand by a second male before he managed to escape the school. He is currently in the hospital in serious but stable condition. The police are still trying to ascertain a motive for the attack. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is the 2014 Audi Q3. It comes with Bluetooth, mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, electronic parking brake, back camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $5.6 million. All pay down as low as $1,120,000 down, with around $108,000 monthly for 5 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell Miracle Century for this sweet, sweet deal. A fight between brothers Richard Anthony and Moses Anthony ended in bloodshed last night when Richard fatally stabbed Moses. According to police, Moses came home heavily intoxicated and made enough noise that it woke up his older brother. They ended up getting into a fistfight that somehow ended with Moses getting stabbed in the chest. Richard was immediately arrested and is likely to be charged with murder soon. GCOM is commencing continuous registration, and today they announced that they are waiving the vaccine requirement for Guyanese between the ages of 14 to 17 years of age. According to the commission, they made the decision after stating that some teens might not have been vaccinated because they were never registered for a national ID card, so no card, no vaccine. As for the adults 18 and plus, you need to be fully vaxxed to enter the local GCOM office to register. An investigation into the fire at a marriage office in Lusignan on March 7th revealed that a faulty electrical plug was to blame. In response, the acting fire chief, Gregory Wickham, called on businesses to have a proper electrician inspect their wiring and exercise fire safety. But seeing as this seems to be an extremely common cause of fires in Guyana, it's doubtful if any business owners will heed the fire chief's call. You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up then quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. It's now time for today's Rona Report. Today, the nation recorded 20 new cases. There are now 1,224 persons dead, 5 in the ICU, and 199 in home isolation. And the total number of confirmed cases around the nation now stands at 63,127. Also, as a point of note, today is the 2nd anniversary of the first case of COVID-19 reaching this nation. So with that being said, please wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. Now for an oil update. As of March 1st, our Natural Resource Fund received 23 billion Guyana dollars, or around 110.3 million US dollars in profit oil, inclusive of royalty payments from the fourth quarter of 2021. To date, Guyana has received 150 billion Guyana dollars, or 719.6 million US, since production began in December 2019. Of that amount, Budget 2022 will utilize 126 billion Guyana dollars, or 604.4 million US, of that money. The government had originally projected the fund would earn US $957.6 million for 2022. It appears, however, that these projections would be exceeded since the Russian-Ukraine crisis has resulted in rising oil prices. Seeing as Guyana effectively tripled its crude output during this time, it's expected that the number may soar far beyond expectations by year's end. Take a look at this beauty being constructed in a gated community called Richmondville in Guyana. It features 4 bedrooms, 1 pool with 7,000 square feet of living space, along with modern amenities. Contact Sheriff Construction on 592-618-5702. Now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is scary? The fact that the government wants to team up with private security companies. At first glance, it might seem like a good idea, but it is actually a terrible idea, and for several reasons. Firstly, many armed security guards are not properly trained or evaluated, nor are the police for that matter. So, 2 confused groups working together just sounds like a set of confunction nonsense that is probably going to result in a security guard accidentally shooting a civilian while he was pursuing a suspect, which will be a tragedy and a legal headache. Second, the legal lines will get even blurrier when you consider the fact that many armed guards already drive around with flashing sirens and act like they are police officers. But there are things police can do that they are legally not allowed to do. Someone is going to abuse that power, obviously. Third, the police respond to crime as a free service to the public. If private companies are now involved, someone has to pay them for responding to crime, and you can bet it will be you, the taxpayer. Because if it's the government that's paying, it's you. And if it's you who have to pay, obviously, it's you. Security firms and the police should share intelligence and even training, but nothing else. Because giving state resources to security firms instead of improving the police force's capabilities could be misinterpreted as the government rewarding its supporters in the business world at the expense of national security. So I think the government should just do that, improve the police force. It will be extremely difficult to fix the force, yes, but that is what we hire politicians to do, to figure out the smart solutions to the hard problems of government, because to expect anything less from them is pretty stupid. Moving on to our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So, you give your responses in the comments and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, how do you feel about the police teaming up with the private security firms in the nation? Curtis Grogan says, the government forming relationships with private security companies, even foreign entities, isn't a bad idea. Only if it's for the genuine benefit of the nation, and only if corruption isn't involved in the process. But history has proven that we are living in a world where that is an illusion. So it's a good or a bad thing depending on how it affects who. And this applies to all aspects of politics in this country. Exactly. Corruption touches everything in this nation, so I know this will not be exempted. The realist one says, I believe private security is definitely a good idea. Even if we have 90% bad firms, we will have some good ones that will set an example. Remember, it's business. Better service, more money. In the end, the good guys will prevail. Besides, as it were, we have no security, so we need to explore our options. Honestly, the best option is just to invest in the police force, not private security. Carl Smith says private security companies should have a way to have open communication with the GPF. They should receive basic training, like writing a proper incident report. Exactly, I agree with that. Lash says, unless the closer relationship is characterized by them being more critical of the enforcement of gun controls and issuing of gun licenses to qualified and responsible individuals, I cannot support it. No way. The government already has a monopoly on the police force and army. Improve their relations and, by extension, standards with them. What more relationship they want that doesn't have some nefarious motive? Indeed, when the private sector teams up with the government, that is how fascism comes to your nation. Just saying. RC View Farm said, what exactly does a closer relationship look like? The GPF needs to establish a volunteer arm of the GPF in all communities. A lot more can get done. Also, a proper tip line to call in anonymously and report crimes for rewards if convictions result. This is not rocket science. Tear a page from another country. Exactly. We have many examples from around the world we can choose from that do not involve hiring private security firms. It makes no sense. And finally, Dopamine says, how closer can the government get with the private security sector? Every armed and unarmed private security rank has to have a supernumerary constable identification precept, which you have to take the oath of office before obtaining it. This identification gives you the powers akin to a rule constable, but only within the company's jurisdiction in which you're working for. With that said, to put it in a nutshell, this means to add strength to the force. They have all the guidelines for them within the Police Act, which also utilized by the police force overall. They have lots of guns, even more equipped than the joint services. But those private security companies are very exploitive in labor, and they practice bigotry when employing. Indeed, I agree. He then continued to describe the situation at hand, but unfortunately, we are out of time for tonight. So, for tonight's question, should businesses be required to get fire insurance in Georgetown, seeing, just how easily they all seem to go up in flames? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out on Monday for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying, have a great weekend. And as always, don't drink and drive. We'll end up on Monday's episode the hard way. Ha-ha! Good night, folks.